Are you a member of the 4-H club for competent communicators? What's that you say? You have never heard of the 4-H club for competent communicators? Well, that's because I invented it. Shortly after I joined Toastmasters, I was sitting home on a Friday night watching YouTube videos. But unlike my youngest son and a few other people I know, I was not watching YouTube videos with cats and furry creatures, nor was I watching YouTube videos of my favorite political candidate making fools out of themselves. No sirree, I was on a mission. I was on a mission to find out what all of the previous winners of the Toastmasters International Speech Contest had in common. And I discovered, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that all of them were indeed members of the 4-H club for competent communicators. They just didn't know it yet. What did those 4 H's stand for? I'm glad you asked. They stand for homework, humor, honesty, and heart. Yes, this is my cheat sheet. The H stands for homework. All of the previous winners had indeed done their homework. They had written their speeches. They had organized their speeches. They had practiced and polished them to perfection. There was not a single and, ah, or so in any of those speeches. And it showed. The second H stands for humor. All of the winners were funny. All of them used humor to get their messages across. All of them, beyond a shadow of a doubt, had suffered some kind of pain or misfortune in their lives. Anything from divorce, failed relationships, maybe they were high school dropouts, or were always picked last on the kickball team. All of them used humor to get their message across. They learned a valuable lesson. Humor heals. The third H stands for honesty. You could tell all of the previous winners had lived their lyrics. They were honest. They were authentic. They were not sharing their speeches to impress their audience or brag about their accomplishments. They were sharing their pain, their suffering, and their triumphs to inspire their audience to be honest and authentic in sharing their stories, perhaps in the hope of helping someone else heal and showing them how they can indeed overcome that. The fourth H stands for heart. All of the speakers spoke from their heart. When you experienced heartbreak, most of you in this room know the pain of a broken heart, perhaps of a lover who's left you, or a relationship that has ended. Perhaps your children have moved 2,000 miles away, or maybe you're on that plane flying home after dropping them off at college, and it's a very lonely trip. And maybe, just maybe, some of us who are a little older have lost parents or loved ones. We know the pain of a broken heart. Those are things that cannot be adequately put into words. On the flip side, I believe most of us know the thrill of a joyful heart when the guy of your dreams asks you to marry him. Perhaps when you hear the words, "You're going to be a grandma or grandpa," I'm sure that will bring some joy. How about when a wayward child returns home? When we share our messages from our heart, our audience will indeed receive a message that our words will never be adequate to convey. In closing, I would like to invite all of you to become members of the 4-H Club for competent communicators. Prepare your messages, do your homework, practice and polish your speeches to perfection. This cannot be done in an exiguous manner. It has to be done over a period of time if you want to share your message without using any filler words. And it also shows your confidence. Humor. Humor heals. There's very few things in this life that we cannot find the humor in. In some cases, we have to give it time, maybe many years. But when we share humor in our stories and in our pain, often I have learned it gives other people an opportunity to see you and to experience that humor as well, and perhaps use that for future reference if they're finding themselves in a similar situation. Honesty. Honesty truly is the best policy. I have learned over the years that more often than not, if people are honest with me, especially if it's a difficult situation, I'm going to be mad at them for maybe a minute or two. But if I find out they're lying, it might take years to overcome the betrayal. The last H stands for heart. Always, always, always share messages from your heart. Try to connect to your audience so they will indeed be able to receive a message that your words will never be adequate to convey. Thank you.